Hey everyone, Jack Reeve, TalkNorwichCity here, back for another video. Hope you guys are all doing very well. Sat in my conservatory today. Why not switch things up a bit? And with these lovely bright evenings, it would be a shame not to make the most of them. Back today for the news that Tim Krul has signed a brand new contract with the club, extending his stay until 2022. That means it's a 3-year new contract. And surprisingly, probably for most of you, I'm actually really chuffed about this one. We all know my thoughts on Tim Krul when he first signed for the club. I had slight bias because, you know, I'm friends with Remy and I liked Remy and I thought he should have been given a chance, and I've said that on record many a time, and I still do believe in what I said, but that is the past. We can only now concentrate on the future, and putting the first 6 games of last season behind us, Tim Krul was a very crucial cog in the promotion engine that was Norwich City. We've all heard the stories from various different players within that promotion-winning squad changing room who have all said that Tim Krul was a massive part of their journey and also the team's journey, especially the defence, who we all know were very young. Max Aarons, Jamal Lewis, Christoph Zimmerman, maybe not so young, but lacked that experience of English football, and Ben Godfrey. They all said that Tim Krul was a massive part in their development, and I think he's just a really good person to have around the dressing room. Stuart Webber has said many a time on record that he believes that he was, or has been, his best signing as a sporting director, certainly last summer. A World Cup, squad member with Holland. He's played Premier League football for Newcastle. This man is very experienced, arguably on paper one of our best players in terms of his career. And to have him in and around the dressing room for another 3 years can only be good, I think. And this summer's going to be very interesting. I think I've done a few videos on this before, and we filmed a few podcasts about it. But Norwich City had going into the Premier League with a fairly exciting squad. I can't see too many of the players that we've been promoted with leaving, which is always good in terms of just the cohesion going through. I think when you start to lose a lot of players and bring a lot of players in, sometimes it can work. Quite often you do lose that mentality that the squad was built on. There's fragments that start to build and that cohesion is lost. You think of any workplace that you've been in, if you start to lose key members of that and new people are starting to come in, although from the outside it looks healthy, from the inside fractures can start to build. And we've heard it many a time from John Ruddy, from Russell Martin, them previous promotion winning squads. It's often better when you go up and then keep the same squad that got you there. If you don't do that, at least give them a chance, because say, I'm not saying this will happen, but say Emi Buendia was dropped from the squad next season for a £20 million central attacking midfielder, that's going to annoy a few people, because it could then be a possibility that you are going to be the next one that is replaced for a big money signing. I think we just have to simply stick to what got us there. Fantastic recruitment. We've already seen, in my opinion, a fairly decent signing in Patrick Roberts. That will soon show to us all whether that was a good signing or not. And I'm sure there's going to be more good signings. And I'm sure there's going to be a lot of signings of players that we've never heard of. And I'm also okay with that, because I know that the recruitment team headed up by Kieran Scott, masterminded by Stuart Webber and overseen by Daniel Farker, I suppose, is one that will 8 times out of 10 nail the right player. And when you've got a bit more cash to play with as well, I'm not saying there will be loads, because I don't think Stuart Webber's ever said it, but a lot of people are reporting around the £20 million mark, which I think is probably fairly accurate. That's not a big spend in the Premier League, but it's more money than we've had to play with before. So in general, I think Tim Krul is an exciting, prospect for us. He certainly holds the dressing room together. I don't think he's the best keeper in the world. I don't think he's the worst. But I suppose I would basically comparing him to Angus Gunn from the previous season. And I don't think Angus, there's many keepers in our kind of realm that you can compare to. Although, on paper, Tim Krul's stats last season were actually better than Angus Gunn's. But I suppose when you've got a defence much better in front of you, that will always help. A lot of people were saying, was the goalkeeper position one that could have been strengthened? I think the way you have to look at that is, are there going to be keepers better than Tim Krul and who are probably going to cost upwards of £10 million going to come in? and be willing to be a number 2, because I can't see Tim Krul not being given the number 1 role for next season. So that's a really interesting dynamic, and that's a dynamic that we've really got to think about going into next season. For example, if we want to bring in another right back to be back up to Max Aarons, how many right backs out there are Premier League quality who are still hungry and will be willing to sit on the bench behind Max Aarons until an injury or until Max Aarons drops off form-wise, which I can't see happening? Not many. That's where it's going to be tough this season in terms of recruiting, and that's where we've got to nail. These are different challenges. They're challenges that I'm sure we will overcome, and they are just more challenges to overcome as well. We've overcome plenty in the past to get where we are, so I'm very, very chuffed. I'm also chuffed to be getting business done early. You know, Tim Close, that contract was wrapped up last week. Now, Tim Krul, I'm sure we'll see other ones as well. So, let me know what you think about Tim Krul. Are you happy? Do you think we need a better goalkeeper? Let me know in the comment section below. And yeah, exciting times. See you later. Bye-bye.